Welcome to Lambs to Lions. You're listening to the weekly podcast with Pastor Matt Funk.
I titled it "How to Remain Faithful." So real in-depth title there, but we're going to start off by reading Psalm 23. All right, so I have a three-step program on how to remain faithful.
I love it.
So we're going to start with the first one. Have a vision. Absolutely have a vision. So we need to stay in the vision that God has given us. So right now I'm a mechanic by trade. When I used to be working at dealerships, so I worked at Hyundai for 5 or 6 years. I did my apprenticeship there, and I got my red seal. I came up to be a master technician there and the electrical specialist, and then on my way to be the foreman. Through my journey, I decided to not go down the path of car dealerships and go a little bit more specific to electrical work, and I love my job there. At dealerships, you guys can argue this if you want, because everyone has an experience at dealerships, but we're supposed to be doing high quality work at a fast pace, as fast as you can. Sometimes those get mixed up. I agree with you guys that that was, as a mechanic's point of view, is I wanted to do the best job I could as fast as I can. Mm-hmm. And in order to do that, when I was working on cars, I wasn't just focused on what I was exactly doing at that time. I was focusing on the next steps. So I did a lot of engine rebuilds. I did a lot of diagnoses as well. And so I didn't have to think about tightening the variable I was tightening. I was just thinking about, okay, what do I do after this? Because the second I'm dropping that, I'm already grabbing the next tool. I'm thinking about the next tool. I'm thinking about the next socket. I'm thinking about if I'm in a diagnosis, I'm thinking about if I look at this, I'm looking at 4 steps of what it could lead to or stuff like that. So when I was working on these cars, I had a vision of where I was moving forward, and that helped me stay consistent, stay on track, and it kept moving.
Yeah, that's good.
I also grew up playing a lot of sports. I even coached a little. My biggest sports were soccer, and then played a little bit of baseball, and then I played a little bit of volleyball as well. And then I coached basketball. So I was a little bit everywhere. And I went to a lot of, they've had football players come in and share their stories on soccer players. And we had some great opportunities to meet some great athletes. And even talking to Keon Raymond back at the men's conference, I was able to talk to him. And the one thing I noticed from all of them was that they had a vision. And they kept moving forward. And sports is 70% mental. For those of you who play sports, you know that the mental game in sports it's cutthroat. And half the game is messing with the other team mentally and just trying to throw them off track. And so that's exactly what I want not to happen to us. You need to have a strong mind and stay focused on the vision. You need to see yourself holding that trophy when you're celebrating with your brothers. And that's how you win in sports. We naturally visualize, and the enemy knows this. That's why he attacks us in our minds. Mm-hmm. That being said, when we're thinking about the future, we tend to default to the problems that may occur and all the things that can prevent us from making that goal. We were thinking about the next thing. I'm backed up here. Making the goal when you're thinking about. Oh, okay. So the next thing you know, that you start spiraling when you start worrying about all this stuff. So you start to think, why should I even bother? What's the point? Am I even going to get to the right path? It probably won't even work anyways. Who here has had those thoughts before when you're thinking about the future? Yeah. Okay. It's not just me. There is a word for this. It's called worry.
Yeah.
So who here worries from time to time? Yeah. Okay. I think we all do. I know in my life I had a really good chunk of worry in my times. So I'm going down to my next point here is don't worry about it. Just don't worry about it.
Be happy. Be happy.
Yeah, have a vision and then don't worry about. We all worry at times. This can slow us down in our journey with God. It can even send us right off track into a dark place. My angle bad.
Okay.
I used to worry so much that I was blind to all the amazing things that God had in store for me. And man, I don't know about you, but I think back and I was like, man, I wish I had myself put together when I was younger, like even more younger. And I know some of you can share stories like that. I know Rick has amazing stories that he loves. But I'm sure you wish you knew God before that. The survivor story. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and there's a time that I was stuck in my life and it was full of worry and I tried to ignore it. I had great friendships. Like I hang out with my non-believer friends and, ride motorcycles or go play sports, or I was also younger, so we just play video games a lot of the time and just kind of tune out life and just do the fun things and ignore the things that I should have focused on. What ended up happening from that was a division from my calling. I cried out to God and asked him to help me. I grabbed my Bible and I asked him to reveal to me what I needed to hear. And I opened it straight. Like I literally just I prayed to God. I was like, God, please just show me what I need to do. Show me the word. And I opened the Bible and Matthew 6 showed up. So that's what we're going to read is Matthew 6.
Which of you by worrying can add 1 cubit to his stature? So why do you worry about clothing? Consider the lilies of the field, how they grow, they neither toil nor spin.
And yet I say to you that even Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these. Now if God so clothes the grass of the field, which today is and tomorrow is thrown into the oven, he will not much more clothe you. Will he not much more clothe you? O you of little faith.
So then forsake your worries. Why would you say, what will we eat, or what will we drink, or what will we wear? For that is what the unbelievers chase after. Doesn't your heavenly Father already know the things your bodies require? So above all, constantly seek God's wisdom and his righteousness, and in all these less important things will be given unto you abundantly. Refuse to worry about tomorrow, but deal with each challenge that comes your way. One day at a time, tomorrow will take care of itself.
Did you read all of it?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, each day have enough trouble and stuff.
Yeah.
So that chunk alone changed my life, and it was God, but it was through this word. And oh man, I just feel the weight of it again. I just love that verse so much. So immediately when I read this, I had a huge wave of peace hit into my life. So I was in high school at the times, and I was so worried about just everything. I was worried about the future. I had no plans for the future, and all the things that I should have thought about started coming to me. And so when I read that, God was just like, just don't worry about it, man. And if you guys know me, I'm not huge on like I don't mind it, but I'm not one to like post notes everywhere and all these things. And so it was really out of character for me to grab this and post it on the wall. And it was like, I need to read this every day because it was that much of a life change to me. And so every time I woke up, I'd read that verse, don't worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself.
Yeah.
And I tried my very best to live that verse out because I knew just from what I felt, I was like, this is what God wants me to do right now. So I'm just going to dedicate all I can to it. So through that, I actually became a very positive person. So I wasn't always before that. Like, yeah, I was. I was like, I was fun, smiley, laughy. But inside not so much, and so the positivity wasn't genuine. And so I started looking, and you can ask Coach Rodney, I started looking at the glass full. Didn't look at there's no half empty, it was just full. There's always a positive twist to put towards things, and that's what helped me keep my mind forward and not just think of all these things that I could worry about. So life was good at this point. I was really enjoying life. I even at school, like, my grades got better, and I got, I don't know, I even got a school spirit award, which is not like me. Yeah. So I think it holds my air conditioner in, but so it's a really useful trophy. But through that, like, there's just so many things that happened through that change, and shortly after, I actually found this church in 2011, and I was full of vision and on fire from God. It took one service to know that this is where I wanted to be and start serving. And a few years in, God gave me dreams of this church, and it was dreams of it being an absolute full house. So one was a weird one. I was running sound, and I couldn't see the stage because there was too many people, and I was getting frustrated, and I was like, and one guy was a chef and he's wearing a big hat. I was like, get this chef out of here. But it's like, it was a funny dream, but in the midst of it, it was like, it was so full that I couldn't see the stage. I was like, man, and I catch myself sometimes like on now, where I was like, I can't see, and I'm like looking around, I was like, this is just like my dream. Yeah. And then I had another dream where I was standing down on the ground looking at all the seats, and it was just full. And that was a really cool dream because me and Pastor Morris shared that dream that night. So we both had that one. And then I had a third one where I don't know why, but I was on stage, and it was full of youth.
Nice.
And so it was all women leading worship and everything. So I thought about that too, because we're a church that, supports women in leadership, and it was just an amazing thing to see the power of God flow through them in this dream, and all these youth just hands in the air, just worshiping God. And so it was an amazing thing. And little did I know, that was an essential part of my life. So it started to become very difficult being here. There were times where I felt alone. I was burnt out at work, so I was still working at Hyundai at the time, and trying to do high quality at a fast pace really burns a person out, and it's cutthroat because it's flat rate, so I'm just trying to make the dollar. I'm chasing every dollar I can get, even though I don't need it, and it's just a slippery slope. So where I lost my notes here. I was getting burnt down at work and here, and those were like my two biggest parts of my life, and both of them I was struggling with, so that was difficult. I saw the churches thriving in the area, and I was so happy for them, and I thought many times I could just easily go to another church where all my friends are and find a wife and be happy. It wasn't, man, I'm just going to be real with you. Sometimes, when things don't go well, we can look down the street and see, oh man, they're happy, they're growing, they're doing all the things I want to do. And you could just walk on across the street. I had those same thoughts. And then it got even harder. I was burnt out completely. And I was done. I cried out to God, and I cried out to God. I was in tears, and I was so done. I was at my limit, and I asked for help, and I said, God, what do I do with this? Why are these things happening to me? Why is there no good, why is there no good things happening right now? And he said to me, and it was almost verbally clear. He said, did I say I was finished with you? And then I shut up, and I just sat there in silence, because I couldn't believe I got to the point where I was thinking, why would I think God was finished with me? Why would I think that he was not working in my life? And he gave me a verse, which was Proverbs 3:5. And I think does anyone want to read it? If not, I can read it. I'm going to read it. I want to read it. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him. He will make your path straight. Do not be wise in your own eyes. Fear the Lord and shun evil. This will bring health to your body and nourishment to your bones. So I'm not going to lie. That made me really mad when I read that the first time. I was like, I need to trust you in all these times right now. And I was like, and then I corrected myself and I was like, you're right, God, I need to trust you right now. And, it wasn't just that one moment. It became the verse of the day the next day. And then we had a meeting that afternoon, and somebody's like, I'm going to read Proverbs 3:5. I'm like, all right, okay, I get it. So shortly after that, someone else had a dream about me where I was in a storm and I was getting thrashed and thrown around. And I grabbed onto this flagpole, and they said that I was getting like whipped around each and every direction, which in my time in that life is where I felt like I was getting pulled two different directions. So I was just getting thrown around in this storm, and they said that you did not let go of that flagpole. And it's like you knew that was sturdy ground, and you held on to it. And little did I know that it only took me last year, a couple of years ago, to remember that dream and remember that that's this church. Wow. So trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding, which gets to be my third point. Trust in God.
Yeah.
We need to trust God where he has placed us. I started to serve for no one but for him. Through that, I was able to remain steadfast here. I knew in my heart that God would come through with all the vision he gave me. When you truly serve for God's glory, it will give you life. Let me be a witness to that. However, as we all know, life isn't full of unicorns and rainbows, and things happen, and we can get tired and we can get vulnerable, and the enemy will try to come in. And as I said before, when we get vulnerable, that's when the enemy likes to try to divide us. And he will try to get us to question what we do here. He will try to break our trust for each other, and then this cannot happen. And I'm going to be honest with you, it was getting to me a few weeks ago where division was trying to get in, and I was like, I'm not having this. I know what this is. I know what this enemy is, and this is not going to happen. And what we do in these times is we need to get closer and closer and closer. We need to link arms and not let the enemy get around us. Yeah. That's what I love about this church, and I love about this, you men here. We need to not lean on our own understanding in these times and trust God. Go back to what we know for sure. We know God is perfect. We know that he loves us. He will never leave us, and he will never forsake us. Yeah. In all our ways, not in just our work ways, or not just our church ways, or not in just our home ways. In all our ways, submit to him, and he will make our paths straight. There was a time when I said, I don't care if it's me and just Pastor Morris. God called me to this church, and I'm going to see it through. We got down to about 15 people, and it was shortly after that I heard the news that we've been praying for 9 years at that time. 5 years later, and here we are, standing in the room that I thought we would never use because it was so cold and hideous. and some stayed, some returned, but most of you men are placed here for such a time as this.
Amen.
Isaiah 41:10 says, "Do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and I help you. I will uphold you with my righteous hand." righteous right hand. And that was my takeaway, actually. I just wanted to encourage you guys that that we're all in this together. And yes, there are times that are hard. And but I lived by these three things, and I still do, is have a vision, don't worry about it, and trust in God. And it's simple, but that's what I needed, was simple. And you can dedicate your life to this easily. And it's a fun journey. Mm-hmm. And I encourage you guys to how do I say this? Just to maybe take a step back and just take a look at all the stuff that's going on, and go back to the point of where you remember that you felt that God called you to something, and just think about how you are on that path, and let it encourage you. And like if you feel like you're a little bit off course, then look for the growth in that, and then let us help you get back on track with that. All right.
Thank you for tuning in today, and thank you for continuing to partner with us and for giving so generously to this ministry. If you would like to find out more about how you can partner with us, visit our website at www.wherepeoplematter.church and click the giving link. And don't forget to subscribe and share this with your friends. See you next time.